What movies are the ones that you had to watch twice that you first didn't like and then you just watch it again and then maybe it blew you away or like you had to watch it for a third time and then you're like, oh shit, I finally get it.
Yeah, like definitely Mulholland Drive for me. That's one where it's like you you have to watch it.
Yeah.
Like a lot of Lynch movies, I feel like they're very rewatchable. You kind of have to watch them multiple times
Mm.
just to really get like a sense of the vibe and the story, I guess, and what he's trying to say.
Yeah.
But I don't know. What do you think? What's another one?
Blow Up by Michelangelo Antonioni.
Yeah, yeah. Because that's another vibe movie. That movie's such a like a he doesn't make sense. The main character doesn't make sense, but he just like lives off of a vibe. And I
Yeah.
love that movie.
Yeah, definitely Blow Up by Michelangelo Antonioni, who's a favorite of mine. Mank by David Fincher gets better like every time you watch it.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah, because you get more like the first time you watch that movie, just think like, okay, this is alright. I don't really get it, blah blah blah. And I think when you go into it, you expect something else than
Mm-hmm.
what you see, and then you watch it again, or you read about like Citizen Kane or Orson Welles, and you watch it again, and it's totally different. I think where you just get into it more, and you notice more things, or you understand characters more, and it's
Yeah.
just like a cool story, you know?
There's a lot to learn about that story. Like a lot of the backstory is like not it's not spoon fed to you in that
No.
movie, you know? You kinda have to understand like William Randolph Hearst and like Orson Welles and the whole history behind the movie to really like get it.
Yeah.
Um, I know like vaguely a little bit about it, but like I definitely owe it a rewatch because I think the first time I saw it, I was like, okay, this is good. I like Fincher a lot. I thought it looked amazing, obviously with like the old lenses. I don't know. I just never felt like it was not like I never felt like it was like fun. You know what I mean? It never felt
Yeah.
like a fun movie to me.
Yeah, it's just like interesting, and the way it's shot, it's just looks so good. Yeah, it's just like one of those films that gets better. And then also Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah, that's definitely a movie you can rewatch. Any like hangout movie is very rewatchable.
Yeah.
Multiple times, like you get good feel to it. Richard Linklater, really like good rewatchability. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, that's a good movie. That's a good movie. A lot of people hate on it. We have a lot of friends that hate on it.
Yeah.
But that movie, definitely the first time I watched it, not crazy about it. And then rewatching it again and like learning more about the story and more about the time period, you feel like you can hang out with those dudes.
Yeah.
That's nice. It's a good feeling when you feel like when you come back to a movie and it feels familiar to you. I think that's like a good sign of something that's rewatchable.
Yeah. Do you have one in mind? Do you have another one you want to bring up? Because for me, I was gonna say Lucio Fulci's Sette Notte e Nero.
I don't know that.
That's the sidekick.
Oh, yeah.
But
I
that's
love that
the
movie.
yeah, that movie. When I first saw it, I was like, okay, I didn't really maybe make that much sense to me, but it was kind of cool. I think I gave it like three and a half stars on Letterboxd. I went and saw Morbius in the theater,
Mm-hmm.
and it's Morbius. We don't need to go into it, but I came home and I watched The Sidekick again, and then I was thought, okay, this is actually kind of a masterpiece. I didn't realize it, and then I watched it again. I bought the Blu-ray and I saw it again, and I was like, dude, this shit's like really like one of my favorite giallo, and then probably my favorite Italian, like one of my favorite Italian movies ever.
Really?
Maybe not even like yeah, yeah.
Really?
I just think it's so cool. I've seen it like 5 times in the past year or so. No.
I haven't watched it with you at all.
Yeah,
Damn,
no.
you seen it 5 times?
I feel like yeah, I you're gonna watch it and probably be like, oh yeah, that was alright, you know. And then there's this plot device in it that's really cool, and the editing is really good, and the atmosphere and the music and the story is it's very mysterious. It's just a cool like, and it's also spooky too. It's
Yeah.
also spooky. It's just a good murder mystery giallo. It's just a really good giallo, but it's a supernatural giallo. The
Well, yeah,
woman,
it's called The Psychic, right?
yeah, yeah. But all these giallos have sidekicks in them.
Yeah, they all have some. I think like what makes a Jalo. It's not always this way, but there's always some form of like supernatural,
Yeah.
psychic like abilities. What's the
Hmm.
one with Dario Argento and it's a really young Jennifer Connelly?
Phenomena?
Yeah, Phenomena. Like that's just like out of blue she can talk to animals, right, or something like that. Like that has nothing to do with the plot, but for some reason, like you tie it into it. Like that's so I don't know something creative about that I really like.
Yeah, I don't like that one as much, Phenomena. Yeah, I don't like the whole animal stuff in it, and the ending's pretty cool, but it doesn't make any sense at all. Like, and it's just kind of it didn't age the film well. The music it was like contemporary rock from the
Really,
'80s, and just not like
yeah.
some corny '80s stuff.
I mean, yeah. You know what alien movie like fucked me up as a kid? Signs by M. Night Shyamalan.
Yeah, that
Oh
was
my
scary.
god. Oh, so terrifying. Especially the scene like with the aliens and Joaquin Phoenix, like in the closet. You're like, oh Jesus. Handheld footage of the alien like crossing over a fence, just steps over it.
Mm.
Dude, I don't think I could sleep that night.
Yeah, that movie was creepy for sure. M. Night Shyamalan is a guy you only need to watch his movies once because
Mm-hmm.
the whole thing is just about a mystery leading up to a twist,
Mm-hmm.
and then you don't need to like see it again because you know what's gonna happen.
If you know the twists of his movies, the movie kind of is pointless. Because I think I got like Sixth Sense spoiled for me by some like Family Guy or some like like
Yeah.
Simpsons or something that like references it and like totally like spoiled it. You know,
Yeah.
I just put two and two together, and then when I watched it, I was like, oh, like he's dead. That made the movie a whole lot less enjoyable when you know that he's gonna trick you, I guess, but you're in on it. Not every one of his movies has a huge twist, like Unbroken, right? That twist is at the beginning. What'd you say?
Unbreakable?
Unbreakable. Yeah.
No, the twist is there's a big twist in the end.
What is it? That he's like Superman or something like that?
No, that's not the twist. The big twist in the end with Sam Jackson.
Where Sam Jackson like orchestrated it all?
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
twist.
Well, yeah. I mean, but he's just a villain. That's like a natural.
Yeah, well, yeah. It's like he's a villain, but you don't even know he's the villain until like the end.
Yeah. Yeah. The Village. The twist is that they're just like in modern day.
I never saw The Village.
You never saw The Village?
No, I never saw The Village. I never saw Lady in the Water. I never saw Knock at the Cabin. I never saw Old.
Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Oh yeah,
Saw it?
I saw that.
Mhm.
I saw that.
What do you think of it?
I haven't. I remember seeing it back in 2010 or whatever, and I was like, yeah, that was cool. Kathleen Kennedy, Frank Marshall made it, but I think Frank Marshall was like, M. Night Shyamalan doesn't understand how important the ending is. He has a hard time with endings.
Yeah, I mean that's what we're talking about, right?
Yeah.
The Village was good though. I like The Village. He gets a bad rap.
The Visit is the best one out of the new era.
Yeah, I like The Village.
Oh, and Split was pretty good too.
Split's good. Glass is terrible. I hate Glass.
Yeah.
We saw that together. Yeah.
Yeah, we saw that with my brother.
That was not good.
I went to the theater 2 nights in a row. The first night, we went to go see All Quiet on the Western Front.
Yeah, we did.
With Ian.
We did. Yeah.
And then the next night, I went to go see Cocaine Bear with Jake and Josh and Brendan, and then Cal, the storyboard artist.
Oh, he was there?
Yeah, he was there. He was there. 2 very different movies. One is vastly more superior and just well made, and the other, yeah, it wasn't very good.
Yeah,
it was like disappointing. It was just very mid to not good spectrum. Because, like I said, like with a title like Cocaine Bear, you got to come with it. You can't just.
Yeah, it's gotta be fun.
Yeah, you gotta. You're promising something. Yeah, they just like marketed the shit out of it, and then.
It's everywhere.
And it was just like the most safe, middle of the road, like mediocre sort of thing. And there's only like a couple good kills in it.
Yeah.
And there was barely any bear kills, dude. People like getting into accidents because of the bear or something. Or
oh my god.
It was just kind of there wasn't.
Yeah.
And then there was this weird, wholesome story about this mom and her kids and stuff.
Yeah.
Didn't vibe.
Uh-huh.
And also, it really blows its load in the first half because all the cool stuff happens in the first half. And there's a scene where the kids are like doing cocaine, like these little kids, like 7, 8-year-olds, like,
really?
Like they're like eating the cocaine and stuff. And yeah, that was pretty edgy. And then there was a couple good kills, but other than that, Dude, by the end, it like really doesn't even have that sort of catharsis to it.
That's disappointing because it really does promise you a fun time
Mm-hmm.
in a way, you know?
Yeah.
They really market it like this is going to be like a good time for you. It's not, they're not saying, oh, this is a good movie. This is any like cinematic thing.
No. It's like trying to be like have a message or something in it. It's Elizabeth Banks.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she did like Pitch Perfect and then Charlie's Angels, the remake.
Oh, that's right. She did. Yeah.
And I never seen Pitch Perfect. I never seen Charlie's Angels, but I heard that Charlie's Angels is really bad.
Yeah, but we gotta see it like, and judge it ourselves.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what we should watch next.
Well, I watched Cocaine Bear and I give it 2 stars on the Letterboxd.
Letterboxd. Well, that kind of blows because I think if this movie were made 20 years ago or something like that, it would probably be more violent. But I feel like nowadays it's like they probably took the really safe route of like having to have like some story, some meaning. When in reality it could just been a movie without any characters you know except the bear and just going on a rampage. That would have been like fun, you know?
No, this does this thing where 3 or 4 different groups of characters that would cross cut in between going into this forest.
Yeah.
And you really don't give a fuck about any of them. That sort of framing of the story or whatever, it really loses its tension in that way.
Yeah. Rip Ray Liotta though.
Yeah, his last role,
I know.
he plays like a drug dealer. He's doing his best, but he's probably the best one in the movie. Ice Cube's son is in the movie.
Yeah, I know. He's in the trailer, yeah.
He's in the trailer. He's like, okay. The guy from Modern Family, one of the gay dads, is in it. He's really average, even to annoying.
Huh. Who plays the mom?
Carrie Russell.
Yeah, that's right.
Kurt Russell's daughter.
Yeah.
She's hot. Like, she looks good in this, you know? And she has a cool outfit that
Nice.
she looks good in.
Wardrobe's good. There's a dude that's like kind of like a TikToker that I saw. That was like they cast like a few TikTokers like in the movie. So like and they like have been promoting it and stuff. I just think that's kind of funny how it's like we're getting to a point where it's like streamers and TikTokers are like kind of like somewhat of like a marketing draw for like people in these movies, you know?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Because they're stars, you know?
They are, yeah. But they're relatable because it's like you don't feel like they're like someone that's like on the screen. You feel like there's someone that's like personal to you because they're on your phone.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to go see All Quiet on the Western Front, which is quite a good movie.
Yeah. I've been talking about this movie like for a while. I was lucky enough to see it in theaters. As opposed to like, it's interesting, Cocaine Bear came out in theaters and All Quiet is like a streaming movie.
Yeah, which is not really the best way to watch it.
No, dude, you should see it in theaters because it's like mind-blowing. It's so good.
Yeah.
It's so raw. You feel like no one wins in the end, but you feel like content with having like sat through the brutality of the movie. I remember reading the book. And that was one of the things that stuck with me was like how young these kids were and how they were going through this thing that was like promised to them like a big adventure. Like that was like there hadn't been a war in like hundreds of years in Europe or 100 years in Europe up to that point. So it was like when you're going to war, it's like you're traveling out of your home, you're leaving like a hometown. That promise is like quickly broken when they get into like real live combat and war and just how fucked up it is in the trenches. They're just like so wet and they're just trying to go a couple inches and just people are getting fucking mowed down by machine guns. God, and they do it so well in this movie. Do it so well.
Yeah, it was just a really devastating, desperate picture.
Desperate's a good word.
It's dirty. It's gross as fuck. Like,
as it should be, right? Like, I wouldn't have it any other way in a movie like that.
And I really like the little narrative thread of them signing the treaty.
You didn't like that?
I like that a lot.
Yeah, I
like that
too.
a lot. That really fit in well.
Yeah. It's the guy from Inglourious Bastards.
Daniel Bruhl.
Yeah, Daniel Bruhl.
Daniel Bruhl, he got so famous after that. I feel like I see him a lot. And
he plays like every fucking German.
Yeah, anyone who's German,
yeah.
And they got him for this, and he's just, he's really good at playing that kind of.
But it's
He's
interesting.
like a reserved guy trying to be pragmatic,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
It's interesting because the movie kind of paints him as a certain kind of guy, right? So it's like he's watching his other German officers, like his co-workers, I guess you'd call, gorging themselves with food on this train, but like it's juxtaposed with the soldiers like fucking starving, trying to get any food they can. And so they kind of paint him as someone that's more like, as you said, pragmatic and reasonable. But he is still like part of the problem. I feel like he's still holding off. He's still not signing the thing. Like he's the one that's like, yes, he's the first to like do it, but he is part of like the war machine. You know, he's not totally guilty, and I think that's what he realizes too at that point in the movie that we like go in with him on. It's like he is guilty of a lot of this war and a lot of these deaths, and you can see that he lost his son. And so I think like it's kind of that turning point of the war where people have to face their actions at the end of what they've done, and I really like that. You know, how are you gonna face that? And the main character, Paul, feel bad for him, but that's like any dude in war, you know.
Yeah, it was a really come and see type movie for sure.
It was. In this movie, I feel like they kind of not necessarily villainize the French, but definitely like portray them as like hard to work with, not doing what they can to end the war.
Yeah, you know? It definitely has it's an all over anti-war film because it's from the perspective of the German soldiers, and you kind of feel like when the guy's going on a rampage in the trenches that you're kind of like, yeah, like fucking get him, you know what I mean? Like you're on this guy's side even though he's on the German side, which is like in history the way it was taught to us. Even with World War One, I feel like the Germans were still the bad guys because us Americans, we fought the Germans in World War One and World War Two, so it's a different narrative. We're kind of cheering for this German soldier.
Yeah.
Who was the enemy. You could like predict the lasting impact after the treaty was signed that would led to World War II, you know?
What do you mean?
The resentment of the French.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of see that happen in the end of this movie.
Yeah, and just like absolutely like kicking their mother down, kind of ending to the war. You know, we're gonna fuck you, and we're gonna make sure you're fucked. Kind of like treaty like that led to World War II and led to resentment for sure amongst Germans. Yeah, I thought it was interesting comparing it to Come and See though, which is like a Russian, or is it Belarusian?
Yeah, I think it's Belarus.
Kid who's like, to him, the atrocities are done by the Germans. But in like All Quiet, it's like this German soldier you're following and all these atrocities are happening. That scene where after the tanks come, he's separated and he's kind of stranded in the no man land in that little ditch.
Yeah.
And he kills that soldier. And immediately after he kills him, he like goes and tries to help him. There's something about that's like so real of like, yo, like we found ourselves in hell together, you know? It's brutal. And then the sound in that movie is so good.
Yeah, and the music. I like the music because it was like,
yeah. I was thinking about it too after we watched the movie, just how good the actors were at like portraying like you're going into combat and your adrenaline's like fucking at all-time high.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. And then after you get out of combat, like that scene where they just start drinking that gross ass water. Oh, and they're just like trying to get like any little bit of like food they can just because they're probably fucking crashing so hard, dude. They're probably like so like, ugh.
Yeah, and then the part where they eat the eggs. Ugh.
Yeah.
Ugh. Let's cut right into our Criterion segment of the podcast. So today we have a really special one. It's Jake's favorite movie.
Yeah, it is Jake's favorite movie. This is Jake's
favorite movie. Right now we have Spine number 868, which is Tampopo, a film by Juzo Itami. Look at that. Such a cool cover. When we open it up, we get this cool like booklet. Well, actually, yeah, it's actually a poster. Wow. And you get this like cool ass poster.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And then on the inside you have like, it's like a booklet of the film, you know? Yeah.
Is this the egg scene?
That is the egg scene, yeah. So the actual egg scene.
Yeah.
I just watched this film, and it's pretty good.
I gotta rewatch it. I haven't seen it in a while.
I watched this movie on a double feature. I watched this first, and then I watched Dario Argento's Trauma, which is an interesting double feature. Both perverted in different ways.
Huh. What's your favorite part of that movie?
Of this one?
Yeah.
Dude, I like the little vignettes that happen. I like the scene where the kid is at dinner with his dad or something, and he keeps like embarrassing his dad, but because he's out with like company or like business or something, and the kid is being like really obnoxious about what he's about to order and stuff, and he's asking all these questions on the menu to the waiter, and then the waiter's like, "I'll bring the sommelier," and then he brings like a wine guy out to talk to him before everyone else is about to order and stuff,
Yeah.
and the dad is like twitching.
Yeah.
He's like,
Yeah. I love the scene where the truck driver guy goes to like, he's like, oh, we're gonna go see like the person that taught me, like my master or whatever. And it's this homeless guy at the homeless like camp. And they like sneak into all the kitchens and they like cook like the best fucking food. Like,
oh yeah,
they like cook like really nice food in the kitchen.
Egg, when he makes the egg.
Ah, so good, yeah.
Dude, when he makes the egg and he puts it on top of the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the food. Like I've never seen a movie like where the food looks so appetizing and disgusting at the same time.
It's disgusting because of the sexual aspect.
Where the guy's making out with the girl with the egg. It's so gross when they do the egg scene in Tampopo.
Yeah.
It's really uncomfortable.
What do you think?
Really uncomfortable and disgusting.
Yeah.
To me.
Do you mean like the fact that it's like food and sex mixed together?
They don't mix for me.
Yeah. But for some people, it grosses them out way more than others.
Yeah. But just in particular, that egg scene.
Yeah.
It was just like the amount of times it goes from their mouth to his mouth, and it's so gross.
Tampopo is a good movie, though. Glad you talked about it. It makes me appreciate just like how much effort goes into like food or anything. Just like your craft of like what you're creating. Just like trying to break down the ingredients of what you're doing and then like perfecting it.
And it's also a movie about teamwork and how everyone can bring something to the table, and they can't do it without each other. Like she can't do it without those guys helping them, and they all have their particular role.
Yeah, they all have their like specialties and what they bring. Yeah.
And that's how they win in the end.
Yeah. That's why I feel like it's like a heist movie to me. It feels like that. Because it's like, oh, here's the safecracker.
Mm-hmm. Here's
the getaway driver. Here's the best, fucking disguise person ever, Yeah.
And there's that whole thing with the detective storyline, and then there's the part where the woman is in the grocery store and she's ruining all the food.
Yeah.
She's like squishing like the pear and just squishing like the pie. And when I started watching, I'm like, oh, we're gonna come back to this. And then we never came back to the story. And then it was just like vignettes intertwined with the main storyline about creating the perfect recipe or the perfect ramen noodle soup. Yeah.
It's a commentary on every aspect of food, which is like what makes it so creative and so brilliant.
Yeah.
Good movie. Would recommend. We would.
Yeah.